And here we go. I, modern Western woman. And women, these simps. See it all over YouTube. Women simping for men? I think women are gimps. And only men can be simps. Thor's going to do a correction today, and we're going to get everybody educated on what a simp is. Welcome to the DragonShip. Today is a pre-record. I'll be in Vegas. I don't think we have any simps left, do we? Maybe some former simps. Nah, we got guys like this. This is a simp. Okay, Grandpa. Welcome to the DragonShip, gentlemen. And before we start today, a word from our sponsors.
Masculinity is in crisis. What are we to do? We need to acquire a dominant masculine presence. Now available on Amazon. Masculinity is in crisis. Men's masculine behaviors and traits have been suppressed by popular culture. Why has it become so popular to shame, guilt, insult, masculinity, and masculine behaviors? After 50 to 70 years of this has resulted in a very large subset of men who have become weak, useless, and crisis. Pathetic state for boys and men that leads to depression and violent despair. A dominant masculine presence addresses this very dilemma for the individual man, and it firmly establishes why this is what is desperately needed by the individual man today. In this book, clearly defined masculine traits and behaviors and the emotional durability provided by traditional masculinity are presented as a guide to what every man should embed into his identity. Putting these principles and behaviors into practice will motivate and direct your path step to step to create for yourself an authentic, dominant masculine presence.
And one more from our favorite.
Are you struggling to find a good quality woman? They are very rare indeed these days. If you spend any time at all watching content in the men's podcast space, or you spend time on dating apps or going out to clubs, you're seeing low quality, promiscuous women. You're finding women with daddy issues and personality disorders, or a myriad of other red flags, and you are frustrated. I get it, brother, but what if I were to tell you that the reason why you're only seeing these types of women
this is your commercial,
because of your
isn't it?
mindset? because of your paradigm.
Yes, sir.
We get
I
what we
love
focus
it.
on
Look
in
at this
life,
man.
and you have trained your
This is our
mind
channel
to focus on
sponsor,
the type
guys.
of women that
Listen
you
up.
don't want. So those are the types of women that keep showing up for you again and again. Let's change that mindset today. If you're a guy looking to attract high-quality, submissive women into your life, then I've got the perfect solution for you. And let me tell you, brother, it's all about mindset. That's right. You've got to reprogram your thinking
Not just
to focus
about
on the
women.
type of women you do
About
want.
all areas
That's
of
where
your
my
life.
practical law of attraction course comes in. It's packed with proven psychology-based
Track them
techniques that will
jabronis
help
too,
you
right?
manifest your dream woman. Trust me,
What's
you
that?
won't find this stuff anywhere else. Explained in such a simple, easy-to-use way. And let me tell you, when you start using these methods, you'll be amazed at how quickly things start changing for you. Picture this. You're out on the town, feeling confident and magnetic. All the women are drawn to you like moth to a flame. And best of all, you're attracting the type of women that are submissive and high quality. It's not that they weren't there before, it's that you weren't aware of them before. My course will teach you how to be more hyper aware of the kind of women that you actually want. It will teach you to believe that you're the most attractive man around. And when you believe it, you'll carry yourself that way. So what are you waiting for? The link's in the description. Start living the life you've always dreamed of. Don't miss out on this opportunity to up your game and find the woman of your dreams. The law of attraction is nothing without action. So what are you waiting for? Act now.
And the link is in the description, gentlemen. Here we go. I'm RP Thor, and welcome to the DragonShip. Welcome to the DragonShip. Where rising tide lifts all ships. Gentlemen, today, heated debates. I was watching the YouTubes. Here, you Saturday savages and you shield maidens that are joining the DragonShip after Rule 0. I got some guests here. We're going to have some fun. I was watching some YouTubes, Paul and AJ, and there was these women on there saying they were simping for guys. They were simping
That's
for
how
guys.
it should be, baby.
and I'm sitting there going, simping for guys. Look around, and then I'm hearing these guys talking about what a simp is, and I'm just like, what the F? Seriously? Are we changing the language again? These poor kids out there right now. These poor kids, maybe 35 and under, have no clue what they're even talking about, and they're making these acronyms, which have been around for 20 years plus, maybe even 30 when you start getting into SIMP, and they have no idea what they're talking about, of what it actually means. And I figured Thor doesn't like to do corrections, but he's going to do an educational portion of the DragonShip today, and he's going to educate those folks out there. And I have some example videos I'll get to, and these are the videos that I saw, and I just want to get to them and explain why a woman can never be a simp, ever. But she can be a GIMP. Now, everybody thinks they know what a GIMP is because the BDSM community changed the name of GIMP too. But I can tell you from 30 years ago, GIMP was actually an acronym. And when you hear it, you're going to understand exactly what it is. A woman can be a GIMP. A man can be a simp. And if you have a woman, you want her to be a GIMP. And I'll explain. So what do you think about that? And welcome, Paul. What's going on this Saturday? You're in Sturgis.
I know. We're like Thor. We're both ghosts today.
We're both ghosts. Yes,
we are elsewhere.
This is a pre-record, everybody. But I'll tell you what, this is a user or a viewer supported channel. Super thanks and super chats are welcome. I'll get to you guys. And I want to send out a special thanks. Special thanks to my shield maidens that have joined my membership that make up the majority of RP Thor's YouTube channel. And I'm going to boast it over all the other RP guys in the sphere. I got more females in my membership than they do. So there you go. Paid membership. Nothing like being a pimp, guys.
Because they're all gimping for you, Thor.
Yeah, they're all gimping for Thor.
After they hear this explanation, maybe they won't, because I'm also going to read my poem, I, Modern Western Woman. And we'll see how well that goes over.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, we're not here right now, Thor. Because I'm at Sturgis right now, hanging out with Aaron Clary. He and I are hitting on biker babes, and
I'll be in Vegas this week, and even on Saturday. I'm going to do my best. I got to hang out with Glenn. I'm going to hit Davrick Black Ice. I'm going to see Troy. I'm going to check in with Pearl. I got some things for her. Going to talk to her about some stuff. Who else? Oh, hopefully I'll be meeting John Zerka as well. And I'm hoping I can connect with Miguel and Charlie again. God, there's more, but I don't
Pearl's
remember.
in Vegas?
Rolo's there too. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to do something with Rolo. It's important. We've been talking.
Rolo's always in Vegas, but Pearl's in Vegas.
Yeah. Pearl's in Vegas right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what she told me. She said she had a t-shirt for me. So I'm going to drop her a book, I suppose. So I'm going to do my best. I don't know if it's happened yet, but hopefully by the time you see this, it's all good. And there's things in the can. I just released a BBC podcast, which is Bigger, Better, Confidence. I got some friends out here. And I ran down to San Bernardino last week, and because I promised them first crack at an interview when A Dominant Masculine Presence came out, and it was a good one. It was really good. So if you guys get a chance, you can check it on my channel or go over there and give a subscribe to Chris and JP at Bigger, Better, Confidence podcast. So, and they're doing their best to try to get their wiggle on, and we always support guys like that, and they are definitely looking at this space. So I like it. So yeah, there's heated debates everywhere. I mean, it looks like women can't be a simp. I know they can't. However, yeah, something's happening for sure. AJ, newest member of the DragonShip, grabbing an oar. What's going on? The detailing Viking, all the way from Texas, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah. So this is, since it's pre-recorded Saturday, I'll probably end up trying to go to a car show and show off the clean car. Sunday, I plan on doing my first live stream, and I will be doing a review of Thor's book, which I have my copy right here.
Thank you, sir.
And other than that, what's going on?
Thanks, man. Thanks. You guys want to get right into this, and here's some gentlemen I'm going to put on screen, and they're going to share with us simping. Now, there's some guys that get close, but take a listen. This is what the young folks are thinking simping is right now. They're making guesses is what it is. And then they make guesses on people making guesses. And the only person I've heard in years actually say what a simp was Kevin Samuels and then Myron Gaines. And we've used it for years. It's a great description from the PUA area, but it actually predates it. And I'll just preface it right here. It actually came from the 90s. If you read any of the books, like the book from Iceberg Slim and some of the pimps back in the 80s, 90s, they use this term. And you'll see why. They're customers. And it plays right into what happens to men today that are extremely blue pill. So here we go. We'll add this to
the word simp is the patriarchy's newest way of emasculating decent men. Let the wordsmith break it down for you. As you can see, the word simp is a slang insult for men who are seen as too attentive and submissive to women.
Okay, we got to stop him right there. He's using the slang dictionary, which is the same as the urban dictionary, which is like Wikipedia. That means guys like him go on there and they write what the definition is. Let's continue.
Especially out of the failed hope of winning some entitled sexual attention or activity from them. Essentially what us millennials called the nice guy. But here's the problem. I have seen the term be used for men who are decent human beings and care about women as well as equal rights, suggesting that no man would say any of this unless they expected something in return.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, no worries.
Sorry.
This guy has no clue, man. He has no clue.
That guy is the blackest white knight I've ever seen.
He's the black white knight. Let's call him the dark.
This is going to get us demonetized, guys. Please send super chats.
Yeah. Don't do that, please.
Man, any chance for monetization?
You know what? I saw this and I was inspired to. I would have loved to actually sit and talk with him because I think he probably at some level, when he knows what this is, probably would have to agree with it.
It's not what he thinks it is. He listened to somebody else and thought they were right. And so he thought he's right. Let's continue.
How sad. For this reason, I refuse to allow this word into my lexicon. Just a little update. You're not cool if you don't respect people. The word.
Okay, what's a simp? Oh, I hate this one. I hate when people
You hate
use...
simps?
No, I hate when people use this as like a derogatory, like an insult. Simp is like, I think the term comes from like sympathetic, and it's.
Stop. This is what happens, guys, when you make shit up. That's why you would hate it, because you don't know what it is. It makes you look stupid, and you're basically ignorant. And this is a big problem with guys. We can talk about it later, but the biggest problem that men have and women have now too, particularly men have blinders on and deny themselves and convince themselves with ignorant confidence anything that impedes or jeopardizes their current or future sexual access to pussy. And so you'll see this kind of behavior. So let's continue.
It's thrown derogatorily at men that are just like, I guess, care about their women or partners, you know, where it's just like, oh, you're bringing her flowers? Simp.
It's okay to be nice.
It's all right to be nice.
It's as someone who does way too much for the person they have a crush on.
It's just a fun new way to...
We've all been simps.
I'll be the simp to the day. I don't give a bitch. We have found new and creative ways to devalue women by just making the men around them feel like they're being lesser than for treating them appropriately. But you know,
so,
neither here nor there, folks.
Damn, dude, talk that talk.
Talk that talk, sis.
I mean, too much estrogen in that room, man.
These
There's a
poor
lot of
kids. I feel these are kids, man. Preteen kids, adulting.
The sad thing about it, so actually, I'll be honest with you, Thor. This is the first time I've heard that it was an acronym, so I had to Google it while you're playing this stuff.
Okay, buddy. I won't take care of you, man.
No, I appreciate it. This is great. But the way I've always learned of simp being is like guys who sort of put these girls on a pedestal that they don't even know. You know, like they'll go into a girl's Instagram and be like, "Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're so gorgeous."
Pick the acronym now that you let that, it's an acronym.
Well, you said it once. You said it once too. That's how I knew to Google it.
Exactly. So it is an acronym, guys. So I want you to think about that while you watch the rest of this.
Yeah.
AJ, did you know what this was before the show? I mean, it's hard to find right now unless somebody tells you.
Yeah, like I knew SIMP was an acronym. I just didn't know where it actually came from. And I think it was King Dre was the one that was kind of like going with the whole, you're either simping or you're pimping. You're one of the two. It's true
because it comes from the 80s, 90s pimp culture. That's where it comes from. Believe it or not, I understand pimp to be an acronym, but I haven't found exactly what that is.
I'm going to have to share this episode with our mutual friend, Benny, because I had Benny on one time and he was asking what the etymology was of simp, and like neither of us knew.
Slim's book, you'll see, you know. But
okay, this is great. This is awesome. I'm excited. I'm excited. We're all getting educated today.
A lot of the cultural terms that we use come from the African American community first, and then spill out to the rest of America.
They do, and now, like you see, these poor little, junior high school kids that are well off middle class, wannabes are using these terms that they don't even know what they are, and they think they're derogatory. And it's really quite specific when you hear what the acronym is, because when you hear what it is, it's nothing that they're saying. Because you can respect and you could love a woman, you could do all of those things, and this is not what it is, and it's not sympathy. I'll show you exactly what it is, and you'll go, "Oh crap!" So, RP Thor's educational video on simping and gimping shall proceed. Here we go. It is funny.
What just came out?
That guy is literally giggling like a girl.
A simp is a man who's led by his woman, who does whatever his woman tells him to do. Very passive, lives for her. All of his decisions revolve around her. His primary concern is making her happy at the cost of himself.
There are women who do want that, but those tend to be women who want full control of the relationship. They want to know that they are in control. They want to know that they are the one who is leading, and that's what's big right now. What's big right now is, sexual revolution and the controls in your hands. And you don't need a man. And if you get a man, he's more like an accessory than he is anything else until they want a family.
A simp is a man.
Women don't even know what they want to eat. They don't.
This woman has a better handle on it than all these guys.
Oh, hey, it's How To Beast. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, this is a good one. That's why I put this one in. Listen.
What is the #1 giveaway that a guy is a simp?
I think he is way too invested too quickly. He's sending good morning text, good night text. He sets no boundaries. Like, a girl can walk all over him and he's still obsessed with her. And there's something about him that doesn't come off as super masculine.
So maybe the girl doesn't reply to his text and he just like keeps texting or things
She's
like that.
on it.
Yeah.
What is the #1?
You know what? I like How To
So
Beast. I used to watch his stuff a lot when I was just getting into the learning this stuff. But him bringing his girl into as a part of his brand is like a.
I think that's a no-no for us guys because there's risk. You know what the risk is? There's risk for the girl.
Mm-hmm.
And as a dominant masculine presence, I would not put my girls at risk. Sorry, not going to do it. Even if they wanted to, they'll find something else.
Thor, did you say dominant masculine presence? I think there's a book on that.
There is one, guys, and it speaks to defeating this. And it really will. The more you embody this and you work on the outside in stuff, you'll be amazed. It's really needed. And even guys like this, and I'm going to go into some real detail eventually, because believe it or not, when it comes up, I'm going to be able to point to Destiny and show you guys at some point in future, he has at least 3 above average skills of a dominant masculine presence, if not fucking 4. And that explains his success. So we'll get there someday, and I'll do that, and it'll be fun, and it really, you'd probably be appreciative of it because he's worked on those things. It transcends the alpha beta situation because there's a lot of guys in our space. How can he be doing all this stuff? You get a kernel break, it's a simple explanation. That skill set coupled with some drive, and you're off to the races, whether you believe this shit or not. Check it out. So this guy, should I just go ahead and tip it before I start this guy? Let me just tip it. Guys, it's an acronym. SIMP is not spelled like that. It's not little. It stands simply for a sucker, idolizing, mediocre pussy. I'll say it again. It's a sucker, idolizing, mediocre pussy. Now, do you realize the girl before? She knew it. She didn't know the acronym, but she knew exactly what the hell it was. Isn't that amazing? Now listen to this guy. You think he would know. You think he would. Listen close. Here we go.
Y'all ever notice how if a man supports, advocates for, or respects a woman, he gets called a simp? So the past couple of days, I've been noticing with a certain fallout that a lot of male creators who support women are being called a simp. So I had to ask myself, what exactly is a simp? So then I had to head on down to Google to get me a little definition. And I think this one here is the most concise. I looked at a couple. So a simp,
slang term.
You guys know how precise the Urban Dictionary is? You can type into it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm reading that first
Urban
line right
Dictionary
there.
it's for
Internet
entertainment
slang.
purposes.
You can kind of use it, but these poor folks that wanted to use this as a container word, and of course it is slang. It's an acronym slang. You're right. But they wanted to use it to fit their own purposes, went in here and fixed it. And this is what you get, If you knew what it was, then some of the stuff we talk about makes perfect sense. And you go back and you listen to How to Beat Girl on there. She knew exactly what that was about. This is the guy that would plague my bikini competitors when they would date. These are the guys, they look good, they do all the thing, and after the first fucking date, there's flowers, calls in the morning, damn near wedding proposals, all that shit. It's a sucker, idolizing, mediocre pussy. Oh yeah, but Thor, all your bikini girls, they were all, hot and hot mamas. It was great. They were fit. They did it. Mediocre poon. Love them to death, but that's all they all were. All of them. They're all having those issues. Very few. Very few. God, I sound really like I hate them. I don't. I love them all. Trust me. I love mids. Mids are my favorite. They really are. Here we go.
Is an internet slang term describing someone who shows excessive sympathy and attention toward another person, typically someone who does not reciprocate the same feelings in pursuit of affection or a sexual relationship. Okay, so that's what a simp is. That's the definition. But that's not really how it's being applied, or that's not who it's being applied to. Because I noticed that in comments, videos, celebrities, everyone who's being called a simp are typically people who are just respecting women. Like,
no. Oh, brother. Oh, here we go. Even worse.
How would you describe what being a simp is for people who don't know what that means?
So a simp is a transcendent nice guy. He is the type of guy that placates to a woman, that pedestalizes her, and engages in undue praise and gives gifts for the sake of receiving emotional connection and sex. So there is no emotional connection. There is no genuine interest in a woman. He's simply doing it because praising her and giving her gifts because he wants something in return. So simp is, within modern parlance, it's used to describe a male that is subservient.
Wow.
Okay, I got to stop him because I disagree with transcendent and the fact that most simps are over emotionalized with the women. It's not a fake thing. Those of us that have been simps in our previous lives, it felt real. We were emotionally invested at a high level. Have you guys experienced that with any of your clients or yourselves? Would you say there was no emotion with your simping?
I would say like in all three of my LTRs of my adult life, I simped in all three of them. Yeah, I was definitely emotionally invested in them, especially like, this latest one in which I was engaged to exhibited signs of NPD and APD or ASPD. So it's just like I was simping to that. That's how bad it was.
So I would say he gets it 75% right, but I do think there's a huge having seen this before so much, there is an over emotional investment. I really do. A lot of passive aggressive activity. So I think he's seeing a lot of that, but a transcendent, I don't think that's true. Maybe if he's talking about narcissist using this as a form of game, maybe so. I mean, that man is actually really smart. Yeah, I don't think he's heard that before either. So got any comment on that, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with AJ. You know, in previous relationships before I learned all this stuff, I was emotionally invested. I use the term on my podcast all the time. I was a needy little bitch, you know, and you can't be a needy little bitch if you don't have some kind of emotional investment.
You know, that's what I was talking about earlier. And I have to explore this. Maybe I can explore this with you guys in another episode. I think one of the biggest problems with men going through this process right now is they absolutely put blinders on to deny and convince themselves to ignore anything that impedes or jeopardizes their current or future sexual access to a woman.
Yeah.
This is where guys will call me for advice or consults, because I do consults. I really don't do counseling. I do consults. And they'll come at me and say, this is my issue and this is what she's doing. She's girls night outing. There's this and there's that. And I found things and it's just this and that. And I'll say, okay, well, you have enough here. This is what's going on, right? Yes. Okay. So you have these options. You do realize she's doing this. Well, yeah, but she's actually a good girl and everything else is freaking perfect. And now I get a guy that's arguing against his own evidence. This is what this big problem is. I see this with women too, but not because they're jeopardizing their current or future sexual access. I see them doing anything to convince themselves they're strong, independent, and don't need anything. Opposite. And this whole thing about putting male blinders on fits so perfectly into that neediness that I won't see the forest for the trees because I am so needy. Interesting. I've been exploring that, making a ton of notes. So we'll see. We'll see who agrees with me and who doesn't, and see if we can find some evidence online. I bet we can. Here we go.
That might have been the best definition of a simp that I've heard.
Thank you.
For her age,
Michaela Peterson.
You know what simp is?
Okay.
I think
You know
what simp is?
Is a guy that's like ready to like give everything up for a girl or something like that. Or, like just do the most for a girl. I'm not sure if that's the right definition, but something like that.
Kool-Aid here always gives it away. Anyway.
Melanie, what do you think a simp is?
You gonna ask me?
Yeah.
So a simp is, I think we're in the state we're in modern culture and modern dating because of simps. They don't correct women. There's no discipline. They have no standards. They just want sex, so they'll say and pander to whatever they have to do
She's
to
not
get a
wrong.
woman. They're soft. They're not masculine.
agree
They're
with
not
her.
alpha. And they're just their own. They're desperate for whatever to give women validation on social media. Who dress for the streets,
Whether she's
who
using the
act for
term
streets,
simps
because they're desperate and
correct or
thirsty.
not is
They don't
is
know what it
irrelevant.
means to
There
hold
are
frame
guys
as a
out there that
man,
do
what
all this stuff that
attracts a
ruin
man,
it
what
for
makes a
everybody else.
leader, who
Describing it,
makes
behavior.
a man a king. A king is not simping.
You know,
She was describing it. And that's why I brought up the fact, you know what she just described, Paul? She just described the guys with the blinder on I just talked about.
Yeah.
That is so
Okay.
desperate that he will deny and ignore and convince himself that everything is wrong so long as it doesn't impede or jeopardize the current or future access to that poon.
Yeah.
That's exactly what she described. And that was the intent of idolizing mediocre pussy.
Yep. Yeah.
And so she has the definition. Notice how close hers was to How to Beast Girl. They're both pretty girls. They experienced this.
They know it. They know
They don't know the acronym, but they know what it is. Pretty amazing in my book. Anyways, we'll finish it out with this little girl here. I think it's pretty cool. Here we go.
The way that people are using simp now, everyone's a simp. Like literally everybody's a simp. But like what it actually meant was like a guy that like who has like this raging cunt girlfriend that like fucking breaks shit in their house whenever she's mad, and he just still keeps her around just because he is so afraid of not having a female.
Now, do you
know?
think it would be a bad look if I just own simp? If I'm like, yeah, I'm a simp.
No, I think it would be great. I think that that's where we're going. Someone has to do it. But these guys are considering any person that goes on OnlyFans to be a simp. Like, no, a porn viewer, a fucking
yeah, that's just a guy that watches
that's
porn.
literally
Has
just a
a favorite
dude that
porn
jerks
star.
off. It's literally just a dude that jerks off, which is every dude. You're not a simp.
That little girl is a porn actress. That's the look of a young gal making stuff up as she goes along. Yeah, with ignorant confidence, gentlemen. So what did you think of that whole stream? Am I wrong? I mean, it looks like there's a misunderstanding, and rightly so. I think because the nature of how language is used as container, everything's a container word. Everything has emotionalism embedded into it. It's real hard to get good new terms for this stuff. You know,
words tend to change over time too,
Mhm.
though. You know, like podium, for instance, right? People are like a thing that stands in front of you that you put papers on. That's not a podium. That's a lectern.
It is a lectern.
But everyone calls it a podium now, and so now that's sort of become what it is because that's what everyone calls it, right? Whereas a podium is actually the little block that you stand on.
Yeah, exactly. It's a
you know what I mean?
soapbox. Yeah.
But the fact is that's how language sort of is fluent and changes over time, is because once people start adopting a new idea for that word, that's what the meaning becomes, you know, over time.
I agree with that, but I think we have to protect ourselves in this space, and we have to loudly shout what the actual language is, particularly when it comes to something like vulnerability that a one-woman show has worked on destroying that for the purpose of hurting men and relationships.
Yeah, and I
if she was
agree
right,
with that.
if
Yeah,
she
because
was
words
right.
matter.
If that woman was right about male vulnerability some 2009, here we are, you know, some 24 or 14 years later. Are our relationships better because of it? She promised it.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
No.
It's
No,
far worse.
It's really
and she
fucked
sold
things up,
millions.
yeah.
Had millions of people convinced now. So that's where we're at. You know, the science is not in. It's horrible. And it doesn't fit with who we are as men and women. We are complementary units of one. So that's the truth. When it comes to simp, it is a sucker idolizing mediocre person, nothing more. Those girls had the definition. The pretty girls had the definition. All the rest, ding dong, repeating what other people say. And the guys, they were repeating what the girls say because it's what I said. They had blinders on because they sure as hell don't want to jeopardize any current or future access to the poon that they have such little access to. Now, that being said, Now that you understand what the acronym is, do you realize why girls cannot be simps?
Yeah, because they're not idolizing mediocre pussy.
But they can't even idolize mediocre penis. Do you see? They can't be a sucker idolizing mediocre pussy, but they can be a gimp. They can be a gimp. Shall I give you a little bit of a comedy relief and show you why they can be a gimp and then tell you what a gimp is for girls? Girls can definitely gimp. And here it is, guys. You want some RP knowledge? You want your girl to be a gimp. Not the kind that's BDSM, but this kind, the acronym kind. Here we go, gentlemen. Have some fun.
If you want to have
she's hating on
sex,
your
start
tank
talking
top
about
there,
it now,
AJ.
and I'll go back to the yes, no, maybe
I
list
know,
because
my God,
I had
I'm
no
screwed.
idea it would be so.
Poor AJ has a tank top. Okay,
she
found me out.
At the time of this recording, it was Wednesday's live stream this morning, and I was wearing a tank top because I was going to running afterwards.
That female comedian does touch on a lot of truth, though. And she just talked about duality of female sexuality. And she's done it even before. And she even talked about why jealousy actually plays in the brain at the same place arousal does and excitement, which we've talked about before. So these girls express it in their emotions, but then they'll deny to your face some of these things that are actually true because of they can't be open about it. It goes against how they communicate with subcommunication. You can't be too direct under certain circumstances. However, if you get a certain level of arousal and flow state, it's game on, and you can be. And this is where guys really struggle. They really struggle with even knowing where that is, and they become off creeps. Here we go.
I mean,
Get ready for a
such a
gimp.
great fodder for couples.
Listen, everybody fucks or will at some point or wants to learn more about it. Let me just
If you want to have pleasurable sex, start talking about it now, and I'll go back to the yes, no, maybe list because I had no idea it would be so. I mean, such a great fodder for couples because from there to jump, even if you don't get all the way through it, you're like, oh, you like spanking? I want to be spanked. Amazing. Maybe you just go off of that. Or you like dirty talk? I didn't know that. Like, let's figure out how to talk dirty together. So I guess what I'm saying is like bring in some other tools, some other resources that you guys could discuss together. How great to find out on a third date if your partner has a growth mindset around sex.
First date.
What if your partner says, oh, well, I don't talk about it? That you have your answer. People walk down the aisle with people and they're married for years and then they call me like, my partner's not sexual. Well, how was it the beginning? They were never really into it. People don't change. You become more of who they are unless they have a very specific, like, I'm going to change. If you want to.
Little bits of truth here, guys. Little bits of truth. We're going to talk about why she's a gimp, and you'll find out.
What is your definition of like good sex? Because like women have sex a lot, but we rarely will say that it's good sex.
Just kidding.
In my
Just
opinion,
kidding.
I just think a guy has.
It's okay because here's the thing. You want her to be your whore.
Yeah, okay, damn right. God damn.
She's your slut in the sheets and a saint in the street.
You know what blows my mind? What blows my mind is the guys that have the Madonna whore complex. And when the girl genuinely wants to be your whore, they're like, well, I can't be with her. She's a slut. It's like,
oh God,
bro, what the fuck do you want?
This last week that,
Man, I love that dichotomy though. Like that's for me personally. Like I love it. Like the chick I dated for a while after my last relationship, she would be all like, because her parents lived nearby, she'd be all like proper and like I think she was like second or third generation Korean, so she's like trying to keep like that Korean heritage going and all that stuff. But as soon as the doors were closed, oof, it's craziness.
Yeah, lady in the streets, freak
nice.
in the sheiks is what you want. That's
I
what you
love that.
want.
They want that too, really.
Yes.
The ones that you want, they'll mirror that for you if they know that's what it is. And these girls are going to talk about girls when they talk. They understand. And you'll understand why GIMP is important. Why that's what girls can be, and it's what they want. Now we had a fantastic Dragons meeting, guys. There's a meeting of men called the Dragons membership available on my Gumroad, and we have special guests, and we had Masculine Geek on there talking about his years of experience as a pro dom, and he was talking about some of the techniques and some of the stuff that would allow a woman to be fully her feminine self and get to this place of GIMP. And it's about all I can go here. This is a pretty racy Saturday morning stuff. Shout out to my members and you shield maidens, because this is important stuff. You should be a GIMP for the men in your life. So here we go.
To like take control. Somebody's got to be the director of like sex. I feel like it's like they got to like pick the position and like what you're doing. And I hate when you're just like hooking up and you're like, okay, like something needs to happen, but he's not initiating it. So then you feel like you have to, but then you're like,
okay, we got to stop here. I'll rewind it just a little bit. But guys, how many times, even in our circles, have I not done the consultation? Well, she's just not into the bedroom's kind of down. You know, if she really loved me, she would get on top and initiate.
Oh, that's the worst.
Fuck. Let me do a Glenn Lawrence since he's not here. What? No way.
The sunglasses was nice. That was a nice touch.
No,
perfect.
Honestly, you know what, Thor? I'm gonna out myself here. Before I started learning this stuff, I was that guy. I was the guy that was like, well, I'm just gonna see if she initiates tonight. See if she's really into it. And it's like chicks are passive, submissive creatures by nature. They do not initiate normally. That's out of their comfort zone. You're asking them to be a man at that point.
You must feel like you really have transcended through the veil, making transition.
I have. Yeah. And once I realized that, and I was like, holy shit, if I want more sex, I need to initiate more sex, and then I get more sex. It was just like a light bulb blew off. And it's like, don't even worry about if she wants it or not, because she wants you to take her and lead in the bedroom. A great book. And I've had him on. You watched the live stream I did with
hell yeah, I gotta get with that guy. Yeah,
Eric Everhart. He'll come on the show. He's a fucking down to earth, great dude. Eric Everhart, if you guys don't know, legendary porn star. He's been in the industry for like over 20 years. He has a book called
like 30 years, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So he is a in shape DMP, I'm sure.
He's an OG, right? Before, like pre Viagra. He talks about it in his first book. Pre Viagra, he said there was about five guys that could get it up on camera, and so that's why in the old like porns from like the 90s, it was always the same dudes in all the movies, because there was only 5 dudes on the planet that could do that. Yep. And now with Viagra and like Robo Dicks, like everybody can do it. So it's
Caberjack's the dirty little secret. Yeah, you can have the penis up.
But one of the things that he talks about is like you taking the lead in the bedroom and basically being like an artist, like she's your canvas. What do you want to paint today?
You have to know her body better than she does, really, to get this GIMP thing going that I'm talking about. And, you know, I got a story for you guys. I had a client. I like this guy too, but he was having the dead bedroom situation, and he thought like that. And by God, he was going to show her. And he was so proud to tell me, listen to this, guys. Tell me if this connects. He was so proud because he was going to get his relationship dialed in and train her. And when she was horny, he turned her down.
That's the worst thing you can fucking do.
And slept on the couch. And you know what he said? I showed her what it's like. She'll never do that again to me.
Dude, that's fucked up. Yeah, you don't do that, because you want to reward good behavior and punish bad behavior. And if she's wanting to have sex, that's good behavior. You want to reward that.
Well, here's the thing. If that happens, you must take every opportunity to get her into such mind-blowing orgasmic, even multi-orgasmic flow states, to the point where if you get a woman to have multiple orgasms or really push beyond that pain points, even in a dominant fashion, she will have the sleep of angels. And the amount of chemicals released in her brain because of that is staggering. And your access will only increase, and it's non-linear. You can't not do that, because her access to dick is unlimited. It is not what you think it is. You can never do that as a man. You'll never show her. The way you show her is to give her multiple orgasms, to the point where she gets up the next morning, makes you breakfast, goes out in your garage, cleans your garage, beats out the rugs, and then goes out in the backyard naked and hoses down the patio for you. because of that.
I understood that reference.
I do too.
Anyway, this is a family oriented program.
This is YouTube. We can't get it.
So I'm going to rewind this just a little bit because it's so important to listen here because there's so much truth. They're doing girl chat, but it's captured. Let's go back just a little bit and listen because this is where
they're giving away the game.
This is the game.
Like good sex, because like women have sex a lot, but we rarely will say that it's good sex.
In my opinion, I just think a guy has to like take control. Somebody's got to be the director of like sex. I feel like it's like they got to like pick the position and like what you're doing. And I hate when you're just like hooking up and you're like, okay, like something needs to happen, but he's not initiating it. So then you feel like you have to, but then you're like, what does he want me to do? I like when somebody just like takes control and does it, and then you're just like along for the ride and you're just vibing. That's
totally
my
agree.
opinion of good sex.
I totally agree.
Mine is like, it's not like someone takes control. It's just like, no one even needs to take control because like you're just on the same wavelength of what you want to be doing. Like there was no like inkling, there was no like conversation, there was no like, oh, like let's do this. It's just like it just ends up happening. Like you're just like,
I don't even have to think what I want to happen. It's just
it naturally happens.
You know,
It's
just happening. You're making out and you're like, we've been making out for way too long. Like you need to do something, and they're just like not doing it.
I hate that. That's
the
horrible.
That's what I'm saying. That is the worst when you're just like, are you gonna do something? Like, what do you want me to do?
You know what's funny about this is once I started learning this more and I started applying it, it was night and day. I was doing a lot of this stuff during my plate spinning before I met Nurse Chick, and I had Red Pill Chick, right? The chick that got me into the space. She came sniffing back around, and we ended up hooking up. And when we hooked up, I was doing that. I was putting her in the positions and stuff. And she was just like, what is going on? She's like, you just do whatever you want. And I'm like, you damn right. And she was like, holy shit. Cause it was not what I was doing when we were in that relationship. You know what I mean? Right. And she was just like, what the fuck has gotten into you? And in a good way. It was a very positive reaction to it. Cause when I started doing that sort of thing, just the reactions from chick is I don't know, it will change your world when you start being more dominant, putting them in the positions, pulling their hair a little bit, like that kind of stuff, talking dirty in their ear, that kind of stuff. You're like, a lot of us guys are sort of raised in the blue pill mindset of girls aren't into that, girls don't like it. Girls fucking love that shit.
You know, they really do. And let's go ahead and take a moment. Guys need to learn this. You want to learn this. You want to learn it right. Men who have experience, mentors that know are a good place to learn, not the girls themselves, because you need to be able to play the game. If they don't want to explain it, they don't want you to explain it, you need to be able to do it. Well, where on earth, Thor, can you do it? A couple places I can think of right now. Of course, the Dragons membership available at becomedurable.com and the new Beer Club. Tell us about the Beer Club. It's men's only space. Not, I'm sure you'll be having these talks on the Beer Club.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to plug the Beer Club, but yeah, I've got a beer club. It's beer.comeonmanpod.com, and it's just a group of dudes, right? I've got a private Telegram group where I've got a pretty bustling community in there now. It's actually growing pretty considerably because guys just don't have an outlet. Guys don't have an outlet where they can go and chop it up with like-minded guys. Most guys bring all their problems to their girl. Your girl does not care about your problems, right? You've heard Rich Cooper say it a million times, right? They wait at the finish line, fuck the winner, that whole thing. The way I look at it is like they want you to handle your own shit, right? And a part of handling your own shit is not bottling it up. It's taking it to the boys.
Yeah.
Right? Because guys do much better working through problems and coming up with solutions than they do just talking about their feelings and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
you bring it to the boys
how to get what you need to do to have effective dirty talk, to have effective men are always on, they're always ready to go into flow state. Right now women take upwards of a half an hour to get there, to get to that flow state where it's game on. There's a whole process that has to occur, and I'm going to admit it here, but women excrete far more chemistry when they reach that state than men do. I mean, that's men. I mean, men can get the prolactin and it's post-nut clarity. I'm done. Bye. It's not like that for women at all. And this is where the guys that understand aftercare, the ability to manipulate, or like Eric Everhard's abilities physically, these guys dominate and they create a GIMP. And I'm going to go ahead and go through that right now. And I'll share with you what the acronym actually stands for. Here we go. SIMP. It is impossible. A simp is a sucker idolizing a mediocre pussy equals simp. If you are that guy that says I love you first and buys flowers on a coffee date, write 6 paragraphs of text responses here on my tweet, you are a simp. Stop being that guy. Women can only GIMP for a man. It is a girl immortalizing masterful penis. Did you hear those girls at the end? Did you hear the girls before?
Yeah.
Did you hear the girls in the previous episode? You want a girl that immortalizes masterful penis. Do you understand the difference?
That makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna send this tweet to Nurse.
Please send it. Say dominant masculine presence 3 times fast, and then simp GIMP, simp GIMP, simp GIMP. Men simp, women GIMP. Men simp, women GIMP. Here's the thing:
women are going to be GIMPing for you, Thor.
If you're a simp, you're never going to get a GIMP. That's the hard, cold truth.
Yeah.
You will never get a girl immortalizing a masterful penis, yet you will be emotionally invested thinking you're doing everything right to get that woman to enjoy you and actually commit. It is not going to happen. This, being a GIMP, is exactly why she will follow the bad boy to the ends of the earth, and you will scratch your nutsack in sorrow and say, oh no, I did everything right. It makes no sense. And I'll do the Glenn Lawrence. Dummy.
Just say, Paul, you're always mentioning No More Mr. Nice Guy, and this is like literally a covert contract of the simp. He wants his girl to be a GIMP, but he'll never get it.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing, right? Guys are like, oh, I actually have a TikTok video that's going out first thing in the morning, right? And one of the things is, because I talked about it on the stream today, but women that are really into you want to serve you, right? They want to do nice things for you, and so you got to kind of let them do it. And women that serve you and do nice things for you, when they do those acts of service, they actually get more invested in you, and they actually start loving you more, right? The more they invest in you, the more they love you. It doesn't work the other way around. But like, all these guys start doing all these acts of service, trying to get women to like them as a covert contract to get more sex. And that's just not, women aren't wired that way.
It doesn't work.
So
like, I'm living that right now in the whole plate spinning era that I'm in. It's just like, I used to simp for my ex-fiance, and now these girls is like,
yeah,
reward their good behavior, give them some good sex, and everything works out.
Are you starting to get mirroring happen with your girls now, your plates, AJ? You know what I mean by mirroring?
Yeah, I think
they're enjoying your hobbies now. They're starting to adopt your mannerisms.
Oh, yeah.
This is how you would gauge it.
Like, say the chick that I dated last year for a bit, she was starting to do that, but then she ended up getting with her ex-husband because he's the baby dad, that kind of thing. So let her go, anyways.
Yeah, you don't
like
need
the current, the current chick that I'm
headache.
seeing. Oh no, I realize it now. And then the current chick that I mainly see right now, yeah, I got her on to Breaking Bad.
There you go. Come on. Yeah, that's great, man. Say my name. My name's cooler sounding though than Heisenberg.
Yeah, I don't know. Heisenberg's like a villain name, and it kind of fit that.
I don't know. RP Thor, you know.
Thor. Yeah.
You know,
you're the anti-hero, man. You're not
God amongst men. I mean, it's hard to top that. Yeah.
Radical pimping Thor, you know, RP Thor. No, that's all good. Guys, I want to get into the next section. This will be our final section. What are we up against as men? I wrote a kind of an ode to poem on the tweet X or file or whatever it's called now. It's an X. So let me add it to the stream. I'm going to read it to you guys, and then you guys comment on this. Put some thought into it, because I'm listening to the advice that a lot of the women are putting out to each other, and this is what I'm hearing. I, modern Western woman, I will be annoying, self-righteous, insufferable, argumentative, debate everything, except no objective reality, view everything from my own personal experience only, and discount and deny all that does not share in my experiences. I deserve and I will get attention, for I am a 10. So much I post photos of myself revealing sexually suggestive in nature, and for the attention I must have the right to from men on the internet. Do not commit or look at me if you don't meet my standard. I am externally validated only. I am an oppressed victim. Yet I am so different and unique. Just ask me. There are none like me, and I am the exception. I, modern Western woman, am asked just a simple question. I will test you, and then I will bust your balls for my validation and entertainment. Losers, why don't you get it? I need to be right over my own happiness and fulfillment. I know it all and more than all who have come before me. I must shame and insult you if you call me out on my confident ignorance. I am modern Western woman until I meet a man with a dominant masculine presence and he shows up. So I got a lot of good tweets on that, gentlemen. Trust me, it was a good one. So
that's actually kind of a simpler way of saying this is you often hear women say, "Oh, I'll be submissive for the right guy."
That's what it's a takeoff on, but
right?
This is the behavior.
Yeah, but you will never hear a guy say, "Oh, I'll be a dominant masculine man for the right girl." Like you have to be that way all the time. Like we have a burden of performance.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work on an individual level. You have to be a dominant masculine presence for all of them. Basically, you got to be Justin Waller for all of them,
or Thor, right?
Yeah.
The guy who literally wrote the book on it. Right?
There's discretion involved here, gentlemen. I mean, honest to God, this whole thing. I mean, I've already got my haters. I got my imitators. You're a grifter. You're doing this. You're doing that. Look, what I'm doing with the book is I'm casting a legacy in the future for those men, particularly those men and those apprentices in the power line industry that I had to counsel for all those years, just so they'd be safe and not blow themselves up when some crazy boss babe screwed with their emotions so they couldn't keep their head in a game when they're handling 500,000 volts 2 feet from their face. So I had to come up with something, and it really crossed all boundaries as far as cultures and everything. And so am I doing the grift? Guys, there's no money here. What there is here is a social life that I enjoy with my good friends, Paul, AJ, and all the rest. It's not that. So grift away. It is easy for me because come at me. It doesn't matter. You know what would actually make me happy is to still be able to enjoy some time with my friends off air, not even do this, and disappear into discretion again and live the dream that I was living before I ever got here, which it'll happen again, and it'll be fantastic to just fade away. Trust me.
I love the term grift though. Like everyone, it's used as a gatekeeper term to shit on anybody that you don't like, but whatever you're doing is totally cool, you know? But it's like we're all in this space. We all have something to sell. What you'll find though is like real grifters aren't offering you any value, right? You'll go and you'll see these faceless masculinity accounts selling a Gumroad PDF for like, $100, and it's like 3 pages of bullshit. Whereas you get Thor's book, it gives you actionable information. It's the furthest thing from a grift.
There are some famous coaches that you'll sign up for very expensive coaching, but they're not actually the ones that coach you. They have a staff that does. And I get it.
I got a story about this, but we'll talk about it offline.
One of the things I see in our space, and it's invaded even our close space, and I always will have conversations on this, and that's because I have a fundamental problem having lived this long and watched it happen. And I know it's off topic, but there's a lot of talk about gatekeepers. We need a gatekeeper. I disagree completely, 110%. Gatekeeping is used in modern religions. It's used in social constructionism. It's used in egalitarianism. It's used in Marxism. Saying that you need a gatekeeper for information, or that somebody needs to be a gatekeeper to prevent somebody from speaking their mind, even if they're wrong. No gatekeepers allowed. This is bad. You know, those people weed themselves out and identify themselves. If you have a gatekeeper, they stay concealed. I just disagree with the idea of gatekeeping completely in our space. Anyway, I know that guys that I love dearly think that we must do something. I don't mind calling it out. I don't mind doing corrections. But gatekeeping is a whole different animal. I don't want to change. That's one of those language things that I don't want to change the meaning of. Gatekeeping is keeping somebody out. It essentially equates to censorship.
Yeah.
What it is. And exclusion. Easily to exclude people is a social group. If you're saying bad shit and you're an asshole, it's going to happen. It's the group's
People are going to stop listening. Yeah.
You need a gatekeeper. It's going to happen, you know? And if it's in wartime, well, you know, you're the guy over there in that foxhole that always takes the grenade, you know? I mean, come on, you know? It's how men sort things out. Gatekeeping is for women, in my opinion. In my opinion only, and that's my belief. And feel free to disagree. What do you think?
And I actually am sort of on board with that, right? The whole idea of like red pill, it's supposed to be open source. That means it's open to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody that's willing to use it, you know? And then Rob always says it, like they always out themselves, right? The guys that are disingenuous always out themselves.
They sure do. Yeah. Yeah. No doubt about it. Hey, do you guys want to see one more video? And then we can talk about it. My good friend, who has a dominant masculine presence, Myron Gaines, is on this little interview. And I want you guys, you learned what a simp is. You learned what GIMPs are. And you learned what modern Western woman, are. You understand that as you enter these relationships, there are boundaries that they need. You heard it from the girls, the sexual boundaries. Did you hear what they were saying about good sex? If she's getting that from you and you have a GIMP, all the rest of what Myron's going to talk about here is out the window. It does not happen at all. If your gal is doing what Myron's going to talk about in this video, you're not there yet. You got work to do. Now, is it possible to work on it and get her away from this stuff? Yes. But you're going to need to get some mentorship and some help in order to get there, because you're already kind of having your back against the wall if this is already occurring. And what we're talking about is girls' night out, going to the club every weekend. Okay. So let's just finish it off and talk about what Myron is so eloquently going to state, and watch how these modern day simps handle it. They have been properly trained. In fact, like I want to say, I bet you they will say they feel. And if you're a modern man and you say that I feel about anything, then welcome to being a modern woman. Here we go. Hey, Pearl, let's listen.
Used to kind of trigger me when I would watch them until I got red pilled and I realized they're right about a lot of things.
So at what point, though, does trust factor into that? Like, let's say her friend's getting married, or I don't know, her friend's celebrating a birthday. There's 15 of her friends going out. She wants to join.
Yeah.
At what point does trust play into that? Where it's like, you don't want to tell them, no, don't go and hang out with your friends because they're going to a club. I mean, to me, that just seems like a little.
Well, I say you can't control a girl. You obviously can't do that. You're not going to tell her, you're going to stay inside. The only thing you could control is what you do and how you respond. You want to go? Cool. You're single when you come back.
But there's got to be a line here, right?
That is the line.
That's not a question at all.
Can you pause?
That's boundaries and not acting on it.
That example. Well,
look at the guys. They're shocked like ladies.
It's like, you can't tell women that you can't tell. Yeah, you can. You absolutely can.
I want you guys to
think it's where Donovan Sharp like comes into play, where he's like, tell them like right up front, like, I don't commit to girls who go to clubs. I don't commit to girls who do XYZ.
You realize these guys are in their mind, they're doing what I said earlier, I think is the biggest men's problem in the dating market, is that they have blinders on to deny and convince themselves by any means necessary to ignore anything that impedes or jeopardizes their current or future sexual access or perceived sexual access to poon. That's exactly what they're doing here. Shall we continue?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, hold on. Let me give my example.
Sure.
Okay?
Go ahead.
1 year relationship. She's going out with her friends, celebrating a birthday party. It's a girl thing. 15 girls are going to be there. She's known them forever. You would tell her, no, you can't go to that because you're going to a club.
I would tell her, you can go and do whatever you do, but you'll be single when you return.
But why? Why would that make sense to throw out a relationship like that otherwise is good?
Because if she respects you, she wouldn't have went in the first place.
But that seems like more like an ultimatum.
Shouldn't even ask.
It's not an ultimatum. She has a choice to make.
Okay,
but that's an ultimatum.
No, it's like no. She could do it. She's completely free to do whatever she wants. Because the thing is that she's putting the relationship in a risky situation.
Why? Why would she be? Don't you?
Would you trust her?
Because let's be honest here. What are nightclubs for?
Well, here's the thing. So I will say general.
Oh,
okay. All right.
No, we all know what nightclubs are for.
Yeah,
nightclubs are for meeting other people.
Simping.
You know how many girls get
double monkey backflips.
Boyfriends and we're like, yo, boyfriend, we didn't even know. It's like legit,
bro.
And funny, bachelorette parties, bro. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Come to Miami. It's crazy. A bunch of girls. Oh, they're just chilling by themselves. Before you know it, there's a gang of guys in their room, and I'm just saying, bro.
Yeah.
Things happen. So don't be dumb about it. Be smart.
Well, here's the thing. I refuse to give a woman the comfort of security with me as her boyfriend while she can simultaneously and behave as though she's single. I have boundaries and standards, and this is what it comes with it. Because the thing is that if a girl truly respects you, she's not going to want to go to the club. She's not going to want to be around her friends that want to go ahead and do all this extra stuff. Because
single life.
Yeah, like she's not going to want to behave like she's single when she's with a man that she actually admires and respects. And my thing is, if she wants to go to the club, that's cool. But you no longer are in a relationship with me because I'm not going to look stupid sitting at home while you go out and behave like you're single.
This is the first point I actually would say. I have a pretty strong disagreement.
Fair enough.
Look,
That's
if
fine.
you trust your partner and you trust their
partner,
your due
I'm
diligence.
gonna lose your pussy. I'm gonna lose out.
What if you lose access to the pussy though?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. I think this is the biggest problem that we have yet to identify until now, is the fear of the loss of the future poon, whether you have it or not, is so ingrained and blinded him. Now, what Myron just said, the respect, what do you think a girl immortalizing masterful penis does? We heard those girls. Did you see how giddy they got? Did you see how anticipatory? They were already escalating themselves. They won't give that up. They won't walk away from that. And if they know that's what you're about, they're happy to do it and they're not regretful. And they would tell their girlfriends it's okay. That's not what happens here. Shall we hear? He got your goat a little bit, huh? I heard you, Paul.
It's like the scarcity mindset in these two is insane.
Yeah, and that's really man. I just at the time of this recording, right? I just interviewed Sean T. Smith, right?
Cool. I like Dr. Sean.
He doesn't like being called doctor. He's like, just call me Sean.
I know.
So Sean, my man Sean, he wrote the Tactical Guide for Women. If you don't know,
I have it.
Phenomenal book.
I need to get that book.
It's a sidebar recommended book in the red pill, old red pill subreddits.
Yep.
And this is one of the big things that we talk about is how just guys have such a shitty mentality when it comes to dating that they just sort of take any kind of scraps that they can get. Right. They don't properly, write out what they actually want and then date multiple women to see if those women check those boxes. They try to fit whatever woman into those boxes. It's like trying to fit a square peg into the round hole. It just doesn't fucking work. But they're just like, hey, she touched my penis, so I'm going to just do whatever she says. I don't care if she's out cheating on me or whatever, because I respect her. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit.
These guys are going to crack you up, man. This is being buried by those blinders and convictions that you can't even see it. And you're defending this position for the reasons I put out before, that you're jeopardizing current and future access to pussy in your mind. That's what you're doing by agreeing with this, which is exactly the opposite.
And going back to what AJ says that, they have a scarcity mindset. If you have an abundance mindset, you realize that there's literally another bus every 15 minutes. So if your girl decides that she's going to go to the club, fucking let her go, because there's another chick that won't do that. That's out there.
I know. And I've had this conversation with other feminist women, which I do really well with them. I don't really debate. And by the time we usually have good conversations, but it was like, well, Thor, you've been married over 30 years. What if your woman wanted to go to the club? Well, the same applies. She doesn't want to go. She would be the first to tell you, you're freaking stupid. Why would I want to do that? Instead of stay home and experience 3 or 4 giant O's and sleep like an angel and get everything I've ever wanted. Why would I do that? You know, it's like a non-starter. It's stupid, you know, but there you go. And it's been that way from day one. So
it's the whataboutisms or the what ifisms that they throw in there.
The big problem with these
what
guys,
if I wasn't RP Thor? What if I was, you know, somebody else? It's stupid.
A big problem with these guys, though, with the scarcity mindset, is that they hold on to this girl that's basically disrespecting them.
Yeah,
and they could be letting those disrespectful women go and finding more respectful women, but they can't. They just can't let it go because they want to do the right thing, right? And I don't want to be an insecure man. It's like that all that kind of labeling only supports the feminine imperative.
So
it really does.
You know what? You really brilliant segue, because that was what I was talking about with simp. Here are guys that basically, you know, idolizing mediocre pussy in hopes of having this work well for them, future white knights. But even worse, there's something even worse than simp, and that's developing the one-itis. The one-itis is extremely dangerous because it's a viewpoint on reality that doesn't actually exist in your life at any point in time. But you think that soulmate is yours. That does not exist. It is a fantasy world you're constructing that's not there.
Oh, I hope Star's watching this right now.
Star will agree with me eventually. Trust me, she will absolutely do it.
She still believes in the soulmate myth, but you know, she thinks it's biblical.
There is no pre-selection, but here's the thing. I mean, you really want to get down into it. So we each have a consciousness that is a piece of the universe, or in a way, a piece of God. That is biblical. Each of us have that image in us. So therefore, we are all soulmates together that will reform with God and become one again. That's very esoteric, but it's also quite biblical. So if you look at it from that regard, there's many soulmates out there for you. We are the universe experiencing ourselves through that consciousness. That's why it's so important when some of the greats in days past would say, look, you know, but for there go I, you know, that could be me. I mean, that's how we end up with, you know, true philanthropy to other human beings. That could be me via circumstance, training, and conditioning. Absolutely could. And when you rise above that to self-enlightenment, which you can through a dominant masculine presence, you will actually see that for what it actually is. And the real simp is sympathy for these guys, knowing that the path they're setting out for themselves. Here we go.
Going out to the club and she wants to have a good time. I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. But if you set this, not ultimatum, but if you make this apparent in the boundary, this boundary apparent in the beginning of the relationship, such as, hey, if we're dating, I don't want you going to the club. It makes me uncomfortable. Would you do me the respect of not going to the club? I think that's fine because that's just a preference at that point, right? And I think all preferences are probably okay.
You ever been to a club?
Yeah.
What was that club?
People dance.
What else?
Drink.
What does that lead to?
Dancing and drinking.
Sex.
That is one of the potential outcomes, but that's not a 1-to-1 ratio. It's not like you just go to
So here's the thing.
It is for women.
It really is. Where the disconnect is.
These guys are using like feminine primary language too.
To underestimate like how easy it is for women to get sex. And since it's easy for women to get sex, the threshold for them to cheat is also easier as well. It's a sliding scale that works together. Like for men, it's very difficult to get sex.
That doesn't mean they always want sex though, because it's always available. It doesn't mean they're going to take it.
But here's my thing. I look at it. If your girl is out dressed provocatively and seeking attention, that is cheating. And some people might look at me like, whoa, what do you mean? It's because men and women are different. A man has to actually go out there, put his nuts on the line, talk to a girl to initiate some type of interaction. Women don't do that. Women rarely, if ever, approach men. How do they do it? They do it by exposing their sexuality. Men show their charisma, women show their bodies.
But how would that be any different from a guy driving down with like, you know, a Bentley convertible with a nice watch on?
Because you still got to put in work. You still have to put in work to get that girl. Even though the Bentley and the watch, all it does, it gives you another 20 seconds to build attraction, if anything. Like it's still very difficult as a man. Even let's say you got.
I love that they're actually saying that because there's such a thing, especially in the MGTOW and black pill community that, oh, if you don't have millions of dollars, if you're not rich, if you don't have a Bugatti, that you can't get women, which is total bullshit. Because these guys actually have like Ferraris and shit, right? Like they actually make a lot of money because of their shows so popular that they're like, no, actually you still have to go and talk to the chicks. Like you still have to do the work. Right?
Yep. Yeah.
The car only gives you buys
they're
in
living
20
the
more
life.
seconds. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. Yeah, you can take it off me, Thor, but it's
I
great that they're pointing it out.
Guys, I'm going to use an analogy, and then I'm actually going to reverse position on this for a reason, but it's not the reason you think. So I'm going to use an analogy. A good friend of mine, and I've adopted it. Men as men, in order to understand this better and get along better with the women in the world, is you have a penis. It sticks out into the world. You must thrust it into the world to make progress as a man. As a woman, you have a vagina. You open it and allow access to it being thrust forward. It is a dominant masculine position. Basically, men, you have to use that penis and fuck the world. You can't sit back like these guys and think that's what's going on, you know? That's the point. You have it, it's sticking out into the world. You have to make it go out into the world. Women don't do that. They sit and wait. They're a Venus flytrap. It's a trap. Go and get it. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you this. In that position of a single guy that's not looking to lock down a woman, you can have very familiar female friends. Familiar as in intimate. And if you have performed correctly as a dominant masculine presence, they will always want an exclusive relationship with you. And if you've done it correctly, you don't have to. And if they want to go to the club and they do the club thing, that's fine. But they know that they position themselves as that side chick. And you can have as many as you want, and you could be close friends with them. You could do things with them. You could do this here and this and there. But you must guard yourself against that emotional commitment. Don't get snookered into it. There's nothing wrong. I know plenty of guys that can do that. They can let their gals go to the club, but they're not really their gals. They're a friendly female familiar that they're having intimate relations with, you know? One of the things about clubs that I want to comment on is that women are extremely influenceable by their girlfriends because of their social subcommunication and how they're communitarian in nature, you know? So you really need to know who your woman's girlfriends are. And if you are in a committed relationship and she's with single girlfriends doing this, you are at risk. She can say everything she wants, but if she ever hits that point of arousal and flow state, it's game on. She won't know what hit her, and she will do those things that you don't want her to do. And if you don't know her girlfriends, that's a bad problem. And if you really want to know her girlfriends, start having sex with her girlfriends, and then you'll get to know them. That's Thor's advice. Let's go back to it.
Curve you but a girl on the other hand, she could go into a club going and dudes will still smash her. But if you go into a club, you gonna go to jail. You know what I mean? Like,
I think if you do that with confidence, you walk up to dude,
they're gonna be like,
game over. That's who you are, and you are unwavering. She will be attracted to that because that is who you are.
But the thing is that so people hate this, but the reality is there is a double standard. Men and women are not the same. There's behaviors that are completely unacceptable for women, and there's behaviors that are completely unacceptable for men, and that's okay. And my thing is that women get mad at double standards that don't benefit them. That's where they complain about.
Okay, that's enough of that. Gentlemen, my good friends there on the Fresh and Fit crew, really kind of laying down the law to a couple guys that are absolutely blinded by the fact that they feel like they're jeopardizing their potential and future poon returns by even considering such blasphemous rhetoric being foisted into the airwaves in this gynocentric, femcentric society.
Yeah,
what are your
like when they I felt that way when they were saying, or I think that way, I believe that way, trying not to say feel merch for Fresh and Fit. But when they're using words like ultimatum and partner, it was just like, I'm like, oh my God, these guys are gone. They're too far gone.
Well, you know what? That brings out for me a very teachable moment. and I'm going to speak to the audience and the guys here and even the gals. Gals, it's okay for a gal to say she feels like. It's perfectly acceptable. Now, here's where the mature difference between basically, immature adults and mature adults. When I'm speaking, I have in the past said I feel, and that sucks. What I want to challenge everybody here to do is very simply, I want you, when you think you need to say, I feel like something, or I feel like this is happening or that's happening, stop. Don't do it. Write it down on your hand. Say, I believe. Belief shows conviction. Or if you're not that convicted, say, it seems to me. Use that language instead. That's just a tip of the iceberg. And if you want to know more to be a man, get my book, A Dominant Masculine Presence, and you'll figure that out. Language is important. Use it as a tool or a weapon to use to your advantage. Anyway.
And it's because of your book. That's why I caught myself in the middle of it.
I've heard.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. But
I'm like, oh crap, I said it. And I'm like,
yeah, I've heard other guys in the space say that as well. Like it's more of a masculine thing to say, I think, instead of I feel
or I believe.
It's so hard to undo that programming though. And because I've done the same thing, AJ. I will say I feel just because out of bad habit. And I just try not to beat myself up over it.
That's exactly like, and that's why I said it. I'm like, oh crap.
If you're not, and that's okay. It was the perfect thing to do, AJ. I appreciated you doing that because it gave me the opportunity to kind of throw this out there. Say that it seems to me, if you're not fully convicted. If you are convicted, say I think, or I believe, if you want to be at the top of your masculine game. I believe this, and then you get proven wrong. You can say, well, not there yet. Not so much, you're done. You can do something like that, and you don't have to save.
Yeah. But as I'm saying, I fully believe that these guys are totally indoctrinated and totally too far gone with using the language such as ultimatums, and then they quickly changed it back over to boundaries and then saying partner instead of my girlfriend or my wife.
Yeah.
I've had to catch myself saying, partner in the past too, because same thing. Same thing. It's like, oh yeah, I guess we're not really partners.
You know what I like to say?
Yeah.
My old lady.
There you go. There you go.
The fuck's
That's
wrong?
what Nurse Chick and I are going back through Sons of Anarchy. And so she's like, I'm your old lady.
Exactly. Exactly. How about property of?
There you go.
Oh.
No, she's happy to say it. She's happy to say it.
Exactly. And when you're married, she gets to be announced as Mrs. Thor.
Let's not go that far.
Well, I have a stance on marriage, and I actually believe in the concepts when put together, and that even goes so far as to polygamous marriage, as it's done in several religions under that format. I have no issues with that. The issue I have is completely with state marriage. I am completely opposed, and given that circumstance, even my current wife would realize we would not have a state marriage today. But we almost didn't have a state marriage anyway. We did a private marriage anyway, and I wrote all the vows. So is that set in frame when you write all the vows?
There you go. There you go.
Well, I didn't realize it, but I wanted it to be in that. I wanted to start off at the best possible place, and there was no guests. So there's more to that story, but that'll be behind a paywall. But yeah, as far as action, I can't recommend marriage under those conditions today. But in order to raise a family, there is a way to protect yourself and to get that. Unfortunately, I do think you're probably going to, with my experience and others, I think you're going to have to look outside of the U.S. for the most part to get really protected. But there is plenty of young gals that are going to resist this woke mind virus coming up, because this won't last forever. Always things that are popular will be rebelled against. And so you will have that opportunity again. You're just going to have to go younger, guys, unfortunately. Or fortunately, because they'll be fertile. So that's a good thing. Basically, the woke mind virus will breed itself out of existence at some point. And yeah, why not? We'll just watch it burn. Guys, let's do a quick wrap up, man. This has been a fantastic episode. We might have to do more pre-records because we really hit it off. We're not distracted by our wonderful chat members, you know.
Yeah,
And
love
Billy-
the chat, but
Billy
Jesus
Buster's
Christ, they are distracting.
Hey, welcome, Billy. I hope you enjoy the chat today.
Man. Now I don't know how Rolo does it with his chat. It goes crazy, man.
That's why he has a 5-hour-long chat, because he lets the chat take control of what he's trying to say.
Tangent mode all the way.
He enjoys it though. He really does.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
he gets a lot of super chats, so I would let the audience do that too if I got more super chats.
Hey, you learn from him, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Rolo's the tip of the spear, guys. He really is, and mass respect. But you know what happens to the tip of the spear when you engage in battle? And he's holding up, you know. But this shit, it always gets bent, right? It's the first part that contacts.
Twitter's been a little wild with him the last couple days.
He can handle all that.
Yeah, he's good. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing him here too. And we'll get this wrapped up. Let's do a quick roundtable. AJ, give us your particulars, and thank you once again, guys. Please hit the subscribe on all our channels. This is going to go out on RP Thor. It's going to go out on Paul. Eventually, we're getting it out to the Detailing Viking as well, guys. Here we are, living the dream here at Midgard, and you know we're swinging with all oars. Shield Maidens, Vikings, love it. We are supported completely by you guys, and what you do when you send super chats and join the membership. And there's exclusive content for you guys on all of our memberships. It's very reasonable. There is merch you can get, guys. I know that Paul's wearing some merch. I got the new. I guess you can see it now. Can you see it? You got DragonShip. You got the Halloween DragonShip hats. You got things like that. And what we do with that is we go back into production value so that when we put these themes together to chop it up in tongue-in-cheek way, it's entertaining for you guys, but it's also, there's some gems in there. So you can put this on while you're working out, while you're doing your Saturday thing, or you can save it to the end of the week and you can enjoy, you know, what we're casting out into the world as our legacy. So once again, thank you for all of those things. And AJ, let us know, where can we find you? What's up, man? I'm looking forward to your book review.
So Sunday I'll be doing a live stream for the first time, doing a book review of Thor's book, A Dominant Masculine Presence. Copy's right there. I got one of the early prints, so it's got some of the good gems in there that you told me about.
Syntax errors.
Pretty much.
Well, you can't get those now. We fixed that within 6 days. So I hired a professional critic, and that, I'll tell you what, I didn't realize it until a close friend said, "Hey, there's this, and this," and it doesn't really change the book. And if you get one, you got a collector's item. So, but you do want to do things like that because you actually get blinded to some of the syntax errors. And I noticed Rollo laughed because he's had that too.
Ryan's got some. Ryan's got
yeah,
some stuff
I
in
know.
there. Yeah,
it's funny. It doesn't really change the content, and you won't get that on the audio at all. It just won't come through. But when you're reading it, it's funny. But
that's what self-publishing does, though.
Be kind and don't point them out to the folks because they can't get those anymore.
Yeah,
gotcha. So I'll be doing that book review on my channel, which is down below on my right below my name at RM Details on YouTube, and then you can get me on Instagram at AJMK6R20. So on my YouTube channel, there's a 6-part series that's kind of like my Batman origin story with some resources. Well, I am applying a ceramic coat to my car.
Fantastic. That looks really good. I want to check that out. I checked a piece of it out originally and then got busy with the book. So thank you, AJ. And let's move over to my good friend and my co-captain right now on the DragonShip.
Yeah, you can find all my stuff at comeonmanpod.com. I've got you can find, the audio version of the podcast. You can find the YouTube channel on there. You can find all my socials on there. You can also find all my offerings. So at the beginning of the show, we played the commercial for the Law of Attraction course. That's a mindset course. And I think the biggest thing that guys that's holding them back in the space and getting better with women is their own mindset, their own paradigm. And that's one of the reasons why I made that course my first course, is because once you get your mind right, everything else tends to fall into place. So check that out. I also have one-on-one coaching available, and then you can also get on the beer club. That's only $10 a month, and we meet once a month, and there's no actual format. It's just guys shooting the shit, just chopping it up, having beers and talking about guy stuff. It's a great place to hang out. So yeah, you can find that all at the website.
Thank you, Paul. Appreciate that, guys. Once again, I'm RP Thor. Enjoyed this cast while we're out doing our thing and enjoying life. And I'm going to take us out today. You can find me on becomedurable.com. Of course, you can join the Dragons membership there. You can even buy the book and look forward in the next 2 weeks. There's going to be you'll be able to access on becomedurable.com a dominant masculine presence, both hard copies and soft copies assigned by me. And I am only charging you retail and the shipping. I'll put a few words in there for you, and you'll be able to get a signed copy that way. I figure that's probably the easiest way to do it. And so with that, I'm going to take us out today with one of our sponsors, guys, and we sure appreciate you. Thank you for watching us. And until next time, we'll see ya. Skull.
Masculinity is in crisis. What are we to do? We need to acquire a dominant masculine presence. Now available on Amazon. Masculinity is in crisis. Men's masculine behaviors and traits have been suppressed by popular culture. Why has it become so popular to shame, guilt, insult, masculinity, and masculine behaviors? After 50 to 70 years of this has resulted in a very large subset of men who have become weak, useless, and crisis. Pathetic state for boys and men that leads to depression and violent despair. A dominant masculine presence addresses this very dilemma for the individual man, and it firmly establishes why this is what is desperately needed by the individual man today. In this book, clearly defined masculine traits and behaviors and the emotional durability provided by traditional masculinity are presented as a guide to what every man should embed into his identity. Putting these principles and behaviors into practice will motivate and direct your path step to step to create for yourself an authentic, dominant masculine presence.